Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कंचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो मे जयमुदीरये। बोलो श्री राधे गोविंद भगवान की
जय
जय
बोलो श्रीमद् भागवतम की
जय
जय। हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा
हरे
जय
कृष्ण
हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna.
शिवा प्रभु हरे कृष्णा। ऑल राइट। तो हम लोग 10वां स्कंद पढ़ रहे हैं, 13th अध्याय, और कल हम लोगों ने 52nd श्लोक पढ़ा। और जैसा कि इस अध्याय में हम लोग पढ़ रहे हैं कैसे लॉर्ड ब्रह्मा जी भगवान कृष्ण की शक्ति की परीक्षा ले रहे थे। उन्होंने सारी गाय और ग्वाल को ले जाकर एक गुफा में सुला दिया था। भगवान श्री कृष्ण को यह समझ में आया, एंड देन ही एक्सपेंडेड हिमसेल्फ एज ऑल दीज एग्जैक्टली सेम cows and gwals and calves. Yeah. And then Lord Balram understood it. And now that Lord Brahma has come back, it says that he came back in one kshan. One kshan of Lord Brahmaji is 1 year of 1 solar year of us. Right? But in that one, so that whole 1 year, Lord Krishna was carrying on with all these gopas and gwals and bals and going back to Vrindavan and then playing Leela with all these parents, and everyone is essentially getting affection with Lord Sri Krishna. And then when when Lord Brahmaji comes back, what he says is he sees is all the Vishnu Murtis were surrounded by the opulences, headed by Anima Siddhi, by the mystic potencies, headed by Urge, and by the 24 elements for the creation of the material world, headed by the Mat Tattva. That's what Lord Brahmaji sees in each and every Gwalpal, yeah, and the cows. That's what. And then we actually read the purport yesterday. Well, let's read it again so we can again go back and remember the 24 elements. So let's read this verse again. Shiva Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. In this verse, the word Mahima Bhe means Ashwarya or opulence. The Supreme Personality of Godhead can do whatever he likes. That is his Ashwarya. No one can command him, but he can command everyone. Sad Ashwarya Purnam. The Lord is full in 6 opulences. The Yoga Siddhis, the perfection of yoga, such as the ability to become smaller than the smallest, Anima Siddhi, or bigger than the biggest, Mahima Siddhi, are present in Lord Vishnu. Sad Ashwarya Purno Yaha Bhagwan, Chaitanya Charamita Adi 1.3. The word Aja means Maya or mystic power. Everything mysterious is in full existence in Vishnu. The 24 elements mentioned are the 5 working senses, Panch Karmendriya, the five senses for obtaining knowledge, Panch Gyanendriya, the five gross material elements, Panch Mahabhuta, the five sense objects, Panch Tanmatra, the mind Manas, the false ego Ahankar, the Mahat Tattva, and material nature Prakriti. All 24 of these elements are employed for the manifestation of this material world. The Mahatattva is divided into different subtle categories, but originally it is called the Mahatattva. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so we read this yesterday. And again, like just to recollect, it talked about those 24 elements. It says here, right, by the 24 elements for the creation of the material world, right? In Vishnu Murtis, each and every Vishnu Murtis, this is what Lord Brahmaji sees. And those 24 elements, as we talked about, what are those? So 5 working senses, which is the 5 Panch Karmendriya, yeah, which we talked about, the mouth, hands, legs, etc. The 5 senses for obtaining knowledge. Those are the Gyanendriya. And what are those 5 Gyanendriyas?
Eye, ear, nose, skin, and tongue.
And tongue, right? So those are the 5 Gyanendriyas, as we know. Each of us have those 5 Gyanendriyas. And then the 5 gross material elements. The elements wise the gross body is made up of, that is called Panch Mahabhut. And those are
Earth, air, fire, ether, water. And water, yeah.
So those are the Panch Mahabhut. And then the 5 sense objects, which is called Panch Tanmatra. And what are the sense objects?
Sense objects, for ear, it is sound. For eye, it is objects. For nose, it is smell. For tongue, it is taste. For skin, it is touch.
Touch, right? So those are the 5 sense objects. And then we have Man, Buddhi, and Ahankar. So like that, there are 24 elements in the material body, right? Each of the pranis have those 24 elements, plus there is one more, which is the soul, right? But the soul is eternal. It doesn't get affected by the materialistic world. And that's how, and of course, the material nature, Prakriti. And then it says the all 24 of these elements are employed for the manifestation of this material world. Yeah, and the Mahat Tattva is something in between, right?
Yeah.
Also, the Siddhis, there are 8 Siddhis. You have heard about Asta Siddhi. And those are all different Siddhis, like becoming smaller than smallest, bigger than biggest, can fly anywhere, and those kind of, they're like
lighter than the lightest. Yeah.
Lighter than the lightest and all that. So there are 8 Siddhis, and in fact, a lot of yogis with the Yast Yoga, and Pranayam, they actually achieve those Siddhis. So that can be achieved by them. And then, of course, it's mentioned that he also has all these opulences. There are like 6 opulences mentioned, right? Says here, the Lord is full in 6 opulences. Do you know what are those 6 opulences?
He's very handsome. He is very knowledgeable. He is very strong. He's full of abundance. Yeah.
Right, yeah. So, right, those 6 are like wealth, strength, wealth, right? Strength, no one is as powerful as Lord. Fame, he's of course has a fame like thousands and thousands and millions of years, right? He is the most beautiful. He attracts. He's compared like almost like 1,000 cupids, right? He's that attractive. Knowledge, of course. I mean, no one can beat him in the knowledge, as we can see just reading by Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and of course the renunciation. So the other 6th one is the renunciation, which is this whole material world is manifested from him, but he is not attached to the material world, right? He is still separate from the materialistic world. That's the renunciation. So those are the 6 opulences of Bhagavad. Yeah. So I thought we'll revise those so that we all remember these ones. Yeah. So we'll start with 53. Ajay.
कालस्वभाव संस्कार कर्म गुणादिभिः सुमहित्व समित्व स्तमहित स्तमहिभू विमूर्ति मध्वरूप अस्थिता. Then Lord Brahma saw that Kala, the time factor, Swabhav, one's own nature by association, Samskar, reformation, Kama, desire, Karma, fruitive activities, and the Gunas, the 3 modes of material nature, and their own independence being completely subordinate to the potency of Lord, had all taken forms and were also worshipping those Vishnu Murtis. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All right. Then all the other factors, including, of course, the Kal, which is the time factor, were also worshipping all these Vishnu Murtis, is what Lord Brahma sees. Yeah. And again, a nice purport. Let's read this. Arinaji.
Kal or the time factor has many assistants such as Swabhava Samskar, Kam, Karm, and Guna. Swabhav or one's own nature is formed according to the association of the material qualities. Karanam Guno Sango Syasad Asad Yoni Janmasu. Bhagavad Gita 13.22. Sat and Asat Swabhav, one's higher or lower nature, is formed by association with the different qualities, namely Sattva-gun, Rajagun, and Tamogun. We should gradually come to the Sattva-gun so that we may avoid the 2 lower gunas. This can be done if we regularly discuss Srimad Bhagavatam and hear about Krishna's activities. Nasta prayasva Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya. Bhagavad Gita 1.2.18. All the activities of Krishna described in Srimad Bhagavatam, beginning even with the pastimes concerning Putana, are transcendental. Therefore, by hearing and discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, the Rajogun and Tamogun are subdued so that only Satogun remains. The Rajogun and Tamogun cannot do us any harm. Varnashram dharma, therefore, is essential, for it can bring people to Sattvagun. Tada rajas tamo bhavaha kam labhadayasas chaye. Bhagavad Gita 1.2.19. Tamogun and Rajogun increase lust and greed, which implicate a living entity in such a way that he must exist in this material world in many, many forms. That is very dangerous. One should therefore be brought to Sattvagun by the establishment of Varnashram Dharma and should develop the Brahmanical qualifications of being very neat and clean, rising early in the morning and seeing Mangal Aratika, and so on. In this way, one should stay in Satogun, and then one cannot be influenced by Tamogun and Rajogun. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So many important things mentioned in this paragraph, right? And that is one is, as we know, there are 3 modes of nature, right? Satogun, Rajogun, and Tamogun. And then how does each human being or each person, right? How do they get the Sat and Asat Swabhav, or they get one's higher or lower nature, right? All that is based on those, like, that qualities which they get associated with, Satogun, Rajogun, and Tamogun, and those all comes from like Sanskar, Kam, Karma, and Guna, Swabhav, one's own nature, right? So all that is formed based on the material qualities. But what is mentioned is that the lower gunas, the Rajogun and Tamogun, right, can be avoided if we discuss Srimad Bhagavatam. If we hear about Krishna's activities, right, those are all part of the devotional service. So what is mentioned is all Krishna's activities are transcendental, and by hearing and discussing the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Rajogun and Tamogun are subdued so that only Satogun remains. So as we continuously chant, we continuously hear Srimad Bhagavatam, we continuously read Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita and other spiritual grounds, slowly and slowly the Satogun comes up, right? And but also what is mentioned is if that doesn't happen, then what happens is with the Tamogun and Rajogun, we have all our karmas back and forth, the reactions and reactions, the actions and reactions. And so what happens is then the one must exist in this material world in many, many forms. What that means is in so many different bodily forms, we have taken so many births, we don't know what's going to happen in the future, right? But to avoid all those death, birth, old age, disease, etc., we slowly and slowly start getting towards Satogun and start getting towards devotional service. So that's what is mentioned here. Yeah, you're reading this, Ajay.
Tada rajas tamo bhava kama lobhadyas cha ye sita ater anavidham sthitam sattve prasidati. The opportunity for this purification is a special feature of human life. In other lives, this is not possible. Such purification can be achieved very easily by Radha Krishna Bhajan, devotional service rendered to Radha and Krishna. And therefore, Narottam Das Thakur sings, Hare Hare Vifale Janama Ganenu, Janma Gunenu, indicating that unless one worships Radha Krishna, one's human form of life is wasted. Vasudev Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayajita Janayati Asu Vairagyam. Bhagavad 1.2.7. By engagement in the service of Vasudev, one very quickly renounces material life. The member of the Krishna consciousness movement, for example, being engaged in Vasudev Bhakti, very quickly come to the stage of being nice Vaishnava, so much so that people are surprised that Michhas and Yavanas are able to come to this stage. This is possible by Vasudeva Bhakti. But if we do not come to the stage of Sattva-guna, the human life, then as Narottam Das Thakur sings, Hari Hari Vipale Janam Ganenu, there is no profit in gaining this human form of life. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Again, like the very important factor mentioned here is the opportunity for this purification, coming to Sattva-gun and then getting into the devotional service is the special feature of human life. Right? No other bodily features can take you and give you this opportunity. So, and this purification can be achieved very easily by Radha Krishna Bhajan and the devotional service rendered to Radha and Krishna. And if you don't get to this, then we know that there is no profit in gaining this human form of life. Then this human form of life is simply wasted. And we know this, right? All of us know this. We know this human life is temporary, but we have this intelligence and buddhi and ahankar and man in such a way that we actually can understand, self-realize our soul. We can actually do the devotional service. All that intelligence is given to us by the Supreme Lord himself. But if we don't utilize that, we are so constantly busy in just accumulating wealth or doing our materialistic karmas for good or bad or whatever. But all those things together are only producing the reactions, whether good or bad, right? If we do a lot of donations, we'll get good karmas. We'll get good benefits and results. Bad karmas will result in bad reactions, right? And all those gets together and then the next birth will happen. To avoid all that, a human life gives a chance to purify us, purify the soul, and then be able to get back to Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this is a special feature of human life. What is mentioned is a special feature of human life. And human life is very limited. There is no dispute about this, right? No science or nothing. No one can, like, this is in front of our eyes. We know that the human life of each of us is limited, right? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, whatever, 60, 70, whatever max, right? 80, 90, 100 maybe. Some go to 110, 120. But still it's limited. It's such a small duration of human life. So we should not be wasting it, right? And how do we utilize it? The utilization needs to be done by Radha Krishna Bhajan, the devotional service, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, right? Shavanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Sevanam, Padu Sevanam, Vishnu Ishmanam, Padu Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Sakhyam, Dasham, right? 9 different ways given. And Shavanam and Kirtanam is the easiest, and that's easiest in this Kali Yuga. The other yugas, you have to do a lot of yajna and of so many things which are difficult to perform. A very simple thing given to us is just chanting and Lord, the name of the Lord and Shavanam Kirtanam. Right? Shiva Prabhu?
Yes. Shri Virar Kava Acharya comments that each of the items mentioned in the first half of this verse is a cause for material entanglement. Kala, or the time factor, agitates the modes of material nature, and Swabhava is the result of association with these modes. Therefore, Narottam Das Thakur says, Bhakta Sane Vasa. If one associates with bhaktas, then one's swabhava or nature will change. Our Krishna consciousness movement is meant to give people good association so that this change may take place, and we actually see that by this method people all over the world are gradually becoming devotees. As for sanskara or reformation, this is possible by good association. For by good association, one develops good habits, and habit becomes second nature. Therefore, Bhakta Sane Vasa, let people have the chance to live with bhaktas. Then their habits will change. In the human form of life, one has this chance. But as Narottama Das Thakur sings, Hari Hari Viphale Janma Gonenu, if one fails to take advantage of this opportunity, one's human life is wasted. We are therefore trying to save human society from degradation and actually elevate people to the higher nature. As for karma and karma, desires and activities, if one engages in devotional service, one develops a different nature than if one engages in activities of sense gratification, and of course, the result is also different. According to the association of different natures, one receives a particular type of body. Karnam guna sango saya sad asad yoni janmasu Bhagavat 13.22. Therefore, we should always seek good association, the association of devotees. Then our life will be successful. A man is known by his company. If one has a chance to live in the good association of devotees, one is able to cultivate knowledge, and naturally one's character or nature will change for one's eternal benefit. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so one's eternal benefit and the association is so important is what is mentioned. Yeah. सत्य ज्ञान अनंत आनंद मात्रे का समूर्तय है असपृष्ट भूरि महात्म्या अपि उपनिषद दृश्यम. The Vishnu Murtis all had eternal, unlimited forms, full of knowledge and bliss, and existing beyond the influence of time. Their great glory was not even to be touched by the Gyanis engaged in studying the Upanishads. So that's how the Vishnu Murtis, all this Gwal, Bal, everyone are being seen as Vishnu Murtis by Lord Brahma. That's what is being described. Again, a very good purport. So let's read this. Pinaji?
Sorry, mere Shastra Jnana or knowledge in the Vedas does not help anyone understand the personality of Godhead. Only one who is favored or shown mercy by the Lord can understand him. This is also explained in the Upanishads. Mundak Upanishad 3.2.3. Nayam Atma Pravachanena Labhyo Na Medhasa Na Bahuna Srutena Yam Evaisa वृणुते तेन लाभयसा तस्यैष आत्म विवर्णुते तनुम swam. The Supreme Lord is not obtained by expert explanations, but vast intelligence or even by much hearing. He is obtained only by one whom he himself chooses. To such a person, he manifests his own form. One description given of Brahman is Satyam Brahma Ananda Rupam. Brahman is the absolute truth and complete Anand or bliss. The forms of Vishnu, the supreme Brahman, were one, but they were manifested differently. The followers of the Upanishads, however, cannot understand the varieties manifested by Brahman. This proves that Brahman are Paramatma can actually be understood only through devotion, as confirmed by the Lord Himself in Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhakti yaham ekaya graha Bhagavad Gita 11.14.21. To establish that Brahman indeed has transcendental form, Srila Vishwanta Chakravarti Thakur gives various quotations from the Shastras. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, like it's the Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th Skand, 14th chapter. We are yet to read this, right? But it's mentioned the Brahma and Paramatma so the Brahma is the self-effulgence, right? That the Brahma is the manifestation of Paramatma himself, but they can actually be understood only through devotion, is what is mentioned. Yeah. You're reading this, Ajay?
In the Svetasvatara Upanishad 3.8, the Supreme is described as Aditya Varnam Tamsah Parastat. He whose self-manifest form is luminous like the sun and transcendental to the darkness of ignorance. Anand Mantram Ajram Puranam Ekam Santam Bahudha Drishyamanam. The Supreme is blissful with no tinge of unhappiness. Although he is the oldest, he never ages, and although one, he is experienced in different forms. Sarve Nitya Sashvata Cha Dehastasya Paratmanam Paratmanah. All the forms of the Supreme Persons are eternal. Mahavaraha Puran. The Supreme Person has a form with hands and legs and other personal features, but his hands and legs are not material. Bhaktas known that form of Krishna or Brahma or Brahman is not at all material. Rather, Brahman has a transcendental form, and when one is absorbed in it, being fully devotional in bhakti, one can understand him. Premanjana Churihta Bhakti Vilochana. The Mayavadis, however, cannot understand this transcendental form, for they think it is material. Transcendental form of Supreme Personality of Godhead in his person are so great that impersonal followers of the Upanishads cannot reach the platform of knowledge to understand them. Particularly, the transcendental form of the Lord are beyond the reach of the impersonalists who can only understand through the studies of Upanishads that the absolute truth is not matter and that the absolute truth is not materially restricted by limited potency. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So all these various Upanishads describe Lord is what we have been reading. Shiva Prabhu.
Yet, although Krishna cannot see through the Upanishads, in some places it is said that Krishna can, in fact, be known in this way. Upanishadam Purusam. He is known by the Upanishads. This means that when one is purified by Vedic knowledge, one is then allowed to enter into devotional understanding. Mad bhaktam labhate param. Tach chadhana munyayo jnana vairagya yuktya pashyante atmani shatmanam bhaktya shruta gritya. The seriously inquisitive student or sage, well equipped with knowledge and detachment, realizes that absolute truth be rendering devotional service in terms of what he has heard from the Vedanta Shruti. Bhagavatam 1.2.12. The word Shruta Grihitya refers to Vedanta knowledge, not sentimentality. Shuta Grihita is sound knowledge. Lord Vishnu, Brahma, thus realized, is the reservoir of all truth, knowledge, and bliss. He is the combination of these three transcendental features, and he is the object of worship for the followers of the Upanishads. Brahma realized that all the different forms of cows, boys, and calves transformed into Vishnu forms were not transformed by mysticism of the type that a yogi or demigod can display by specific powers invested in him. The cows, calves, and boys transformed into Vishnu murtis or Vishnu forms were not displays of Vishnu Maya or Vishnu energy, but were Vishnu himself. The respective qualifications of Vishnu and Vishnu Maya are just like those of fire and heat. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Reena ji.
In heat, there is the qualification of fire, namely warm, and yet heat is not fire. The manifestation of the Vishnu forms of the boys, cows, and calves was not like the heat, but rather like the fire. They were all actually Vishnu. Factually, the qualification of Vishnu is full truth, full knowledge, and full bliss. Another example may be given with material objects, which may be reflected in many, many forms. For example, the sun is reflected in many water pots, but the reflections of the sun in many pots are not actually the sun. There is no actual heat and light from the sun in the pot, although it appears as the sun. But each and every one of the forms Krishna assumed was fully Vishnu. We should discuss Srimad Bhagavatam daily as much as possible, and then everything will be clarified. For Bhagavatam is the essence of all Vedic literature. Nigam Kalp Tarur Galitam Phalam. It was written by Vyasdev Mahamuni Krite when he was self realized. Thus, the more we read Srimad Bhagavatam, the more its knowledge becomes clear. Each and every verse is transcendental. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so it's so nice to read Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah. Evam Srikiddadarshaja Parabrahma Atmano Akilan Yasya Bhasa Sarvamidam Vibhati Sacharacharam. Thus, Lord Brahma saw the Supreme Brahma, by whose energy this entire universe, with its moving and non-moving living beings, is manifested. He also saw at the same time all the calves and boys as the Lord's expansions. Yeah. So he sees such char and achar. Yeah, all the moving and all the living beings are also manifested, and he sees all of them as Parabrahma Atmano Akhilan. He sees them as the Lord's expansions. Says here, by this incident, Lord Brahma was able to see how Krishna maintains the entire universe in different ways. It is because Krishna manifests everything that everything is visible. Everything visible is manifested, right? This whole materialistic world is manifestation of Lord Sri Krishna himself. Ajay?
ततो अतिकुत को दिव्यस्ति मितय का देशेन्द्रिय तद्धाम्ना भूदज स्तुष्णी पूर्दव्यन्तीव पुत्रिका. Then, by the power of the effulgence of those Vishnu Murtis, Lord Brahma, his 11 senses, jolted by astonishment and stunned by transcendental bliss, became silent just like a child's clay doll in the presence of village deity. Hare Krishna.
Hmm. Yeah. Rinali?
इति रेशे अतर्क्य अ- इति रेशे अतर्क्ये निज महिमनि स्वप्नमितिके परत्रा जातो अत निरसन मुख ब्रह्मकामितो अनिशेऽपि द्रष्टुं किमिदमिति वा मुह्यति सति चक्षादाजो ज्ञात्वा सपदि परमो अजाजवनिकाम्. The Supreme Brahman is beyond mental speculation. He is self manifest, existing in his own bliss, and he is beyond the material energy. He is known by the crest jewels of the Vedas, by refutation of irrelevant knowledge. Thus is in relation to that Supreme Brahman, the personality of Godhead, whose glory has been shown by the manifestation of all the four armed forms of Vishnu. Lord Brahma, the Lord of Saraswati, was mystified. What is this? He thought, and then he was not even able to see. Lord Krishna, understanding Brahma's position, then at once removed the curtain of his Yog Maya. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so Lord Brahma wasn't able to understand what's going on, right? And then Lord Sri Krishna removes the Yoga Maya. And this is the Supreme Brahma. So it's not Brahman, it's Brahma. Yeah. Because the Brahma is the manifestation of Paramatma himself. Yeah. And again, the nice purport. So let's read this. Shiva Prabhu.
Brahma was completely mystified. He could not understand what he was seeing, and then he was not even able to see. Lord Krishna, understanding Brahma's position, then removed that Yog Maya covering. In this verse, Brahma is referred to as Iresha. Ira means Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and Iresha is her husband, Lord Brahma. Brahma, therefore, is most intelligent, but even Brahma, the lord of Saraswati, was bewildered about Krishna. Although he tried, he could not understand Lord Krishna. In the beginning, the boys, the calves, the Krishna himself, had been covered by Yog Maya, which later displayed the second set of calves and boys who knew Krishna's expansions and which displayed so many four-armed forms. Now, seeing Brahma's bewilderment, Lord Krishna showed the disappearance of that Yog Maya. One may think that the Maya taken away by Lord Krishna was Mahamaya, but Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that it was Yog Maya, the potency by which Krishna is sometimes manifest and sometimes not manifest. The potency with which the potency which covers the actual reality and displays something unreal is Mahamaya. But the potency by which the absolute truth is sometimes manifest and sometimes not is Yoga Maya. Therefore, in this verse, the word Aja refers to Yog Maya. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Ajay?
Krishna's energy, his Maya Bhakti or Swarup Shakti is one, but it is manifested in varieties. Parasya Shaktir Vividha Viva Shuyate. Svetastaro Upanishad 6.8. The difference between Vaishnavas and Mayavadis is that Mayavadis say that the Maya is the one. Maya is one, whereas Vaishnavas recognize its varieties. There is unity in variety. For example, in one tree there are various varieties of leaves, fruits, and flowers. Varieties of energy are required for performing the varieties of activities within the creation. To give another example, in a machine all the parts may be iron, but the machine includes varied activities. Although the whole machine is iron, one part works in one way, other parts work in other ways. One who does not know the machine is working may say that it's all iron. Nonetheless, in spite of being iron, a machine has different elements, all working differently to accomplish the purpose for which the machine was made. One wheel runs this way, another wheel runs that way, functioning naturally in such a way that the work of the machine goes on. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prem sir.
Hare Krishna, Vijendraj. Consequently, we give different names to the different parts of the machine, saying this is a wheel, this is a screw, this is a spindle, this is the lubrication, and so on. Similarly, as explained in the Vedas, Parasya Saktir Vividhav Srute Swabhaviki Jnana Balkriyaksha. Krishna's power is variegated, and thus the same Shakti or potency works in very variegated ways. Vividha means varieties. There is unity in variety. Thus, Yogmaya and Mahamaya are among the varied individual parts of the same one potency, and all of these individual potencies work in their own varied ways. The Samvit, Sandhini, and Ahladani potencies, Krishna's potencies for potency of existence, his potency for knowledge, and his potency for pleasure are distinct from Yog Maya. Each is an individual potency. The Ahladani potency is Radharani, the Swarup Damodara Goswami has explained. As Swarup Damodara Goswami has explained, Radha Krishna Pranay Viktir Pulini Shaktir Asmat. CC Adi 1.5. The Haladini Shakti is manifested as Radharani, but Krishna and Radharani are the same, although one is potent and the other one is potency. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Go ahead. Yanaji?
Brahma was mystified about Krishna's opulence, Nij Mahimani, because this opulence was atarkya or inconceivable. With one's limited senses, one cannot argue about that which is inconceivable. Therefore, the inconceivable is called achintya, that which is beyond chintya, our thoughts and arguments. Achintya refers to that which we cannot contemplate but have to accept. Srila Jiva Goswami has said that unless we accept Achintya in the Supreme, we cannot accommodate the conception of God. This must be understood. Therefore, we say that the word of Shastra should be taken as they are, without change, since they are beyond our arguments. Achintya khalu ye bhavanatams tarken yogayet. That which is achintya cannot be ascertained by argument. People generally argue by, but our process is not to argue but to accept the Vedic knowledge as it is. When Krishna says there, this is superior and this is inferior, we accept what he says. It is not that we argue. Why is this superior and that inferior? If one argues, for him the knowledge is lost. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Ajay?
This path of acceptance is called Avraha Panth. The word Avraha is related to the word avatar, which means that which descends. The materialist wants to understand everything by the Aroha Panth, by argument and reason, but transcendental matters cannot be understood in this way. Rather, one must follow the Avaroha Panth, the process of descending knowledge. Therefore, one must accept the Paramgrah system, Parampara system, and the best Parampara is that which extends from Krishna. Evam Parampara Praptam. When what Krishna says, we should accept Imam Rajas Rajarasya Viduh. This is called Avroh Panth. Brahma, however, adopted the Aroh Panth. He wanted to understand Krishna's mystic power by his own limited conceivable power, and therefore he himself was mystified. Everyone wants to take pleasure in his own knowledge, thinking, I know something, but in the presence of Krishna, the conception cannot stand. For one cannot bring Krishna with the limitation of Prakriti. One must submit. There is no alternative. Natam tarkin yajayet. The submissions marks the difference between Krishnaites and Mayavadis. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Let's complete this. Shri Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. The phrase Atan Nirasana refers to the discarding of that which is irrelevant. Atat means that which is not a fact. Brahman is sometimes described as asthulam ananv ashravam adirgham, that which is not large and not small, not short and not long. Bruhad Aranyakya Upanishad 5.8.8 Neti Neti, it is not this, it is not that, but which is it? In describing a pencil, one may say, it is not this, it is not that, but this does not tell us what it is. This is called definition by negation. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also explains the soul by giving negative definitions. Na jayate mrite va. It is not born, nor does it die. You can hardly understand more than this. But what is it? It is eternal. Ajo nitya sasvato yamam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. It is unborn, eternal, and ever existing, undying, and privilege and primeval. It is not slain when the body is slain. Bhagavad Gita 2.20. In the beginning, the soul is difficult to understand, and therefore Krishna has given negative definitions. Nainam chindanti sastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, na chainam kledyante apo, na sosyati maruttaha. The soul can never be cut into pieces by any weapon, nor can it be burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. Bhagavad Gita 2.23. Krishna says it is not unburnt by fire. Therefore, one has to imagine imagine what it is that is not burned by fire. This is negative definition. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, let's just do one more shlok. Prem.
ततो व्रक प्रतिलब्ध्याक्ष का परित्वदुतिस्थ कृच्छद्रादुन्भिल्य वै दृष्टिराश्चस्तेदम sahatna. Lord Brahma's external consciousness then revived, and he stood up, just like a dead man coming back to life. Opening his eyes with great difficulty, he saw the universe among with himself. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, in the Lord Vishnu, he sees the universe along with Lord Brahma himself. Just do one more, Rinaji. Rinaji, okay?
Yes. सपद्देवाभितः पश्यन् दिशो अपश्यत् पुरः स्थितं वृन्दावनं जनाजी अव्यद्रुमाकीर्णं समाप्रियम्. Then, looking in all directions, Lord Brahma immediately saw Vrindavan before him, filled with trees, which were the means of livelihood for the inhabitants and which were equally pleasing in all seasons. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So I think we'll pause here and we'll continue reading from the next shlok. Yeah. And we'll see how Lord Brahma then glorifies Lord Shri Krishna once he realizes. So, step with 3. And now that we are reading about Lord Brahma, we are going to hear Brahma Samhita. I know we have been talking about Brahma Samhita and those examples have been coming up so many times. So we are going to hear Brahma Samhita. It's around 25 minutes, but we are going to split it and hear like 6 to 7 minutes today, and we'll hear the rest next time. Yeah. But this is Lord Brahmaji's stuti to Lord Krishna. Yeah, to Lord Govind.
ईश्वरः परम कृष्णः सच्चिदानन्द विग्रह अनादिरादिर्गोविन्दः सर्वकारण कारणम्। गोविंद के नाम से विख्यात कृष्ण ही परमेश्वर है। उनका सच्चिदानंद रूप है। वह सबके आदि हैं, उनका कोई आदि नहीं। एवं वे समस्त कारणों के मूल कारण हैं। चिंतामणि प्रकर सद्म सुकल्प वृक्ष लक्षावृतेषु सुरभिरभिपालयन्तम् लक्ष्मी सहस्र शतसंभ्रम सेव्यमानम् गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। मैं उन आदि पुरुष भगवान गोविंद का भजन करता हूं जो लाखों कल्प वृक्षों से घिरे हुए चिंतामणि समूह से निर्मित भवनों में कामधेनु गायों का पालन पोषण करते हैं एवं जो असंख्य लक्ष्मियों द्वारा सदैव प्रगाढ़ आदर और प्रेम सहित सेवित होते रहते हैं।
Relaunch this. I'll just relaunch it in the different browser. Okay.
वेणुं सर्वकारण कारणम्। गोविंद के नाम से विख्यात कृष्ण ही परमेश्वर है। उनका सच्चिदानंद रूप है। वह सबके आदि हैं, उनका कोई आदि नहीं। एवं वे समस्त कारणों के मूल कारण हैं। चिंतामणि प्रकर सद्म सुकल्प वृक्ष लक्षावृतेषु सुरभिरभिपालयन्तम् लक्ष्मी सहस्र शतसंभ्रम सेव्यमानम् गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। मैं उन आदि पुरुष भगवान गोविंद का भजन करता हूं जो लाखों कल्प वृक्षों से घिरे हुए चिंतामणि समूह से निर्मित भवनों में कामधेनु गायों का पालन पोषण करते हैं एवं जो असंख्य लक्ष्मियों द्वारा सदैव प्रगाढ़ आदर और प्रेम सहित सेवित होते रहते हैं। वेणुं क्वनन्तमरविन्ददलायताक्षम् बर्हावतं समसिताम्बुजसुन्दराङ्गम् कन्दर्पकोटिकमनीयविशेषशोभम् गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। जो वेणु बजाने में दक्ष हैं, कमल की पंखुड़ियों जैसे जिनके प्रफुल्ल नेत्र हैं, जिनका मस्तक मोरपंख से आभूषित है, जिनके अंग नीले बादलों जैसे सुंदर हैं और जिनकी विशेष शोभा करोड़ों कामदेवों को भी लुभाती है, उन आदि पुरुष भगवान गोविंद का मैं भजन करता हूं। आलोलचन्द्रकलसद्वनमाल्यवंशी रत्नाङ्गदं प्रणयकेलिकलाविलासम् श्यामं त्रिभङ्गललितं नियतप्रकाशम् गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। जिनके गले में चंद्रक से शोभित वनमाला झूम रही है, जिनके दोनों हाथ वंशी तथा रत्न जड़ित बाजूबंधों से सुशोभित है, जो सदैव प्रेम लीलाओं में मग्न रहते हैं, जिनका ललित त्रिभंग श्याम सुंदर रूप नित्य प्रकाशमान है, उन आदि पुरुष भगवान गोविंद का मैं भजन करता हूं। अंगानि यस्य सकलेन्द्रियवृत्तिमन्ते पश्यन्ति पान्ति कलयन्ति चिरं जगन्ति आनन्दचिन्मय सदुज्ज्वल विग्रहस्य गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। जिनका अप्राकृत श्री विग्रह आनंद, चिन्मयता तथा सत से पूरित होने के कारण परमोज्वल है, जिनके चिन्मय शरीर का प्रत्येक अंग अन्यान सभी इंद्रियों की पूर्ण विकसित वृत्तियों से युक्त है, चिरकाल से जो आध्यात्मिक एवं भौतिक दोनों जगतों को देखते, पालन करते तथा प्रकट करते हैं, उन आदि पुरुष भगवान गोविंद का मैं भजन करता हूं।
So we have been listening to the Lord Brahmaji's prayer to Lord Govind in Brahma Samhita. So this is when Lord Brahma is appearing, right, from the Nabi of Lord Shri Krishna, and then he spends 1,000 years to try to find where he came from. Then he does tapasya for tens of thousands of years, right? And then he gains this knowledge, and then he sees the Vishnu Swarup, and then he does this pratna. That's what is from Brahma Samhita. So Brahma Samhita is huge. But this specific chapter is taken up. It has like almost around 35-40 shloks. Yeah, so we'll keep listening it every 7-8 minutes. Very beautiful. And it's a long weekend now. I mean, long week again. Next Monday and Tuesday, I may be traveling, but I will update on that. Yeah. So if I'm traveling, then we'll probably pause for next week. Otherwise, we'll continue. Yeah. But everyone have a nice long week again. And then see you soon. Okay.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.